Who had that first spiritual experience they'd like to share with us? I'm glad to be here with you all tonight.
I have one.
All right, go ahead.
I mean, it's kind of like not a spiritual experience, but just like I just been noticing a lot of people my age just watching a lot of negative stuff and like on the devices on the phones. But
negative what now?
Like this negative videos, like I don't know, it's like basically just people dying. Like I don't know, it's weird. Like I don't know, they're just trying to activate that negative being in them or something.
Exactly.
He was sleeping.
Exactly.
He was going crazy, like almost passing out. He went like he turned pale and everything, like watching those videos, and I was like, it kind of threw me off.
I follow you. Well, you gotta don't keep company with them. They'll pull your vibrations down. Those are the type of people you have to avoid because you see, the vast majority of the population, they're going to drift towards the negative end of the spectrum. You follow?
Yes,
they have a propensity. They lean towards Draconia. You follow me? The Illuminati. Unless you can do something to bring them some light. If we can get you vibrating on a high enough frequency, maybe you can break that spell on them yourself, all right?
Yes, sir. It was just crazy. I didn't really expect that. Me and my friend were just talking about like how to raise our frequency and how to eat better on the alkaline diet and like how to keep the body on the natural state. And I don't know.
That's right.
Conversation.
I love you. Good.
Crazy.
That's why we're here. That's our job. That's our responsibility. We have to adhere to our responsibility if we ever want the ability to respond to this tragic situation. There is a lot of negativity going around. And as far as they're concerned, they'd like it to rule the day. But we all know that that type of a frequency right there constitutes hell, not heaven. You follow? And that's not the direction that I want to take you all in at all, okay? Right now, shift your frequency toward the positive pole and there's some positive questions you'd like to ask as far as ways to remedy that situation, okay? All right. Who else has a spiritual experience for that first question?
Hey, I'm at work, Messiah.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, let me explain something to you all. You were misinformed about blue bloods. It's not real pale white people with blue veins that you can see through their skin. Blue bloods actually comes from the Anunnaki, the elite and royal among the Anunnaki family. When they came to planet Earth in search of AU or gold, they got tired of the workload, and one among them, Inky by name, searched out the planet and he found among the hominids creatures that he thought would be good genetic hangers to place their DNA in to create a man in their image. They did that against intergalactic rules and created the Homo sapiens, you the humans, right? To mine the gold, etc., and be a workforce for them. As a result, the Intergalactic Confederation recalled the Anunnaki. And in their stead, they sent in another group of Anunnaki that were tasked with the job of guiding you all and keeping you alive until you reach the conscious level that you were self-sufficient, etc. And they've been sending us in waves to raise you all up to see how many of you would be prepared to rejoin the Intergalactic Confederation. By that I mean simply that among you, everybody has that extraterrestrial DNA, but to different degrees. So they're scouting out to try to find the ones that are most heavily saturated with that extraterrestrial DNA that can be converted to a civilized being that would be, could be specially prepared to return back to the Intergalactic Confederation. And the ones that are filled with so much of the reptilian and draconian and animal genes would have to be left behind because tragically they just can't evolve. They're not capable of evolution. All right? Now, that was how that the Nagaru race was created. And if anybody is curious about how the Caucasus or the white race was created, I'll give you that information. But understand
yes, I was just going to ask that.
Okay. But as far as in the Intergalactic Confederation, that was the primary law that the Anunnaki broke that got many of them cast down. All right? Now, there's another species out there called the Pleiadians and the Draconians. The Draconians, they created the Pleiadians as a hybrid race that they created them predominantly as a food source, right? And the Pleiadians are technologically advanced and sophisticated, and they got tired of living under the sword of Damocles. In other words, with a big sword, walking around with a sword hanging over their head by a hair. So when they came to Earth, they too spotted out the hominids, the monkeys, etc., and they experimented with them genetically and created the ruddy red Adamite, the white people. And out of fear for their own safety, because they were always constantly on the menu and on the lookout for the Draconians that fed off them, they gathered some of these Caucasites and they tentatively flew back to Draconian territory, the constellation of Dracon, and asked them to patiently don't jump on them and eat them, but to try out the samples that they brought. And so reluctantly, the Draconia cooked up some of these white people and found out, like the porcine sign, the pig, they were tender and succulent, and they easily slid off the bone, and they were very tasty. So there, they all made an agreement that they would substitute the white people on Earth for the Pleiadians on their diet. There was one problem, though, there wasn't enough of them. So in a combined force, the Pleiadians and the Draconians came to Earth and mixed both their DNA together inside of them and created another breed or race of being that they're preparing for a special harvest, the one that you see in the Bible talking about the harvest, and they're going to come and harvest the earth, and reapers will stick their sickle in it. They're talking about white people. They're on the menu. They have quite a few of them now. So there is going to be a harvest, and the beginning of that happened in Alaska. What was the name of that city? Nome, Alaska. Look up Nome, Alaska, and the name of the movie that is really a documentary is The Fourth Kind, I think, where they had, a taste of their rapture. They came down and got thousands and thousands of white people to eat. And how many? 16,000 white people they got in one night from Nome, Alaska. Yeah. And this is documented. And white people are becoming conscious of the fact that their leaders have betrayed them and keep selling them religion and all these pipe dreams like they have a future. And they're actually just food on the menu, MEN-U, of these draconians. And so they devised a very sophisticated plan out of fear and anger to start putting in the black neighborhoods and the brown neighborhoods certain types of ingredients in their food to temper their meat. But in other words, if you in a neighborhood around Hindus, they might use a lot of curry. And whatever it is that the draconians like, they've been placing that in your food to ask them if they ever considered black or brown meat. Problem with that is that unlike the people the young man was talking about previously that are vibrating on a negative frequency, the black and the brown vibrate on too high a frequency, typically, so that if these 6 ether beings bite into them, it's like a terrible poison. They can't eat it, you see? So they have to try to trick you to lower your vibrations and get you into things like murder and those type of ugly, demonic things so that they can see your light and record you as just simply a food source that'll match their 6 ether vibration. That also has a taste that they like. And unfortunately, far too many blacks and browns have fallen for that vibration, and they're being deceived by their overlords into thinking that there's some kind of a light at the end of the tunnel as a reward for thinking negatively. And there is. It's called hell. Now, a lot of you might wonder, how does this play out? Well, they have large ships that they'll collect them on, and they have large vats on them filled with a serpentine substance, and men and women stripped, they stick a tube up their penile and vaginal orifice, rectum, nose, mouth, and they drain all the fluids out of your body, you know, without a care about the pain or discomfort. And then they bring another substance in a green substance, and they pump that into you. And when you become mortified, almost like the Walking Dead, they take you on carts to large cooling stations where that they take chains, overhead chains, and hook you behind the base of the skull and raise you up with your hands tied chain behind your back so that your feet clear the floor, and you just hung in there like by the thousands in big meat lockers. And then when your turn comes, you hear them walking down the hall with heavy footsteps, and they'll choose people out of there to take a leg or an arm off and cook that and eat that for that day. And unfortunately, you don't die because of these substances they pumped you full of. But it's a reptilian fluid. So you become, in a way, like reptiles. You know, when you cut a lizard's leg or tail off, what does it do?
Grow back.
That's right.
Grows back?
Can you imagine a grotesque life like that, a horrible existence like that? That's hell. That's just one of them that they prepared for the negative thinkers. Okay? And that's the real future of people that want to play devil. All right, advocate. Okay? A forever meats food source, living in fear and perpetual just horror. But they've sent us back, the Anunnaki, Elohim, in waves in order to make 97 corrections on you all, because we were commanded not to interfere with your natural evolution. Like on Star Trek, whenever you go to different worlds, don't ever interfere with the natural order of things. We can be simple observers. But unfortunately, many of our kind got zealous and stepped over the lines. And as a result, many of you have fallen along with those that you may describe as your makers. So we do have work to do. that said, have we created any questions for you?
Yeah,
I have a question.
A couple of questions.
Okay.
You go ahead, sister.
Go ahead, sister.
Yeah, how's that? You were saying about the Anunnaki with the blue blood.
The blue bloods, yes. Only the elite royal among them, like when you look at the walls of the pyramid.
Okay.
Wait a minute. When you look at the walls of the pyramids in Egypt, you see that some of the pharaohs were blue, like Amun-Rayay. Those are the blue bloods. And we first came to the planet Mars and migrated away from Mars 450,000 years ago. But we were the little blue men, the little green men that they spoke about in Mars, and the Orisa and the Buddha and all the blue beings of supreme beings. That was us. And Amun-Rayay, I am the blue light pharaoh. Go ahead.
So, have we got 99 elements in our blood? If we got 99 elements,
yes, because you're from the planet Earth. You do. You have 99 elements, corresponds to the 99 elements on the planet Earth.
That means that we mixed with Anunnaki and Earth.
Yeah, you mix with Earth, and when you say mix with Earth, you're a byproduct of the animals and the plants and everything here. Yeah.
And I'm going to ask another question. What it is, was it the Anunnaki that mixed the draconian blood with the Pleiadians so that they can, when they ate the flesh, they would die? Was it a genetic experiment or was it deliberate?
I don't understand your question completely, but I'll tell you, there are 16 species of reptilian, and there are some Anunnaki that are considered draconians in the, reptilian.
Yeah, what I was asking.
Well, maybe what you're asking me is this: how did the black people get the draconian into their system? Is that there's been a lot of racial mixing on the planet over these thousands of years, and many black people have traits of the Caucasite with green and blue eyes and a very light complected skin and thin hair, scales on their skin, etc., because of racial mixing, which is also forbidden. Because in the scriptures, the masters told you, don't mix your seed with the beast. And we, and me among them, we've broken that law far too many times, and as a result, we have become a fallen people even further down as well, because we've mixed with the behemoth, the beast. And of course, there was a lot of forced racial miscegenation. The white people are very warlike, and they've traveled over the continent, conquering countries and nations, and armies don't only eat food, but they rape when they travel. And as a result, when you look at populations in South America and Africa, like Egypt, the people look like a white race. And in South America, they were all black. Now they look like the Spanish and different things, like Europeans, a lot of them, as a result of that. So it's a tragedy, a real tragedy, but we are still here working to make some corrections to save only the elite few, because there are some among you that are vibrating on the conscious frequency high enough to be saved before times get beyond repair and taken back up to rejoin the Intergalactic Confederation. But those beings that are too far deep in the draconian and the porcines and pigs and monkeys, etc., there will be no saving of them, either anatomically or mentally, too devolved inside of the beast. they'll be cut off. Why would you reintroduce a toxic poison like that into heaven? So we won't be taking Frankenstein, okay?
Okay. Well, let me rephrase this, Messiah. When the Pleiadians mixed, when the Caucasian had leprosy, they caught the unclean lepers, were they used for food for a soul so that they could, when the Draconians...
Did who use them for food? The Draconians? Yeah, all Caucasians are lepers. Yeah. And they will be used for a food source. But they're considered clean lepers once the disease runs its course. Have you ever seen a black person, sister, that have these big pink pale spots on their face and hands? And then you see them 2 years later and the spots have spread until one day you see them years later and they're all peeled and white looking albino, because the disease has consumed their skin until the melanin is gone from the soles of their feet to the ball of their hair. Then when the disease can't spread any further, they're considered a clean leper. For example, in the case of Miriam and Aaron, when they turned against their brother Moses, who was obviously a chosen prophet of the Most High, that resulted in Miriam, the older sister, being cursed with leprosy. And Moses, being the humble and loving being that he was, cast himself down on the ground and begged the Most High to lift the curse off his sister, despite of her ugly ways. And the Most High ordered that she be locked up in the camp for 7 days before then she could rejoin the troop after she was made normal again, and then they could march on to Haran. But they had sweat lodges back then that made of brick that they would put people that contacted the disease of leprosy. And that disease was so hot and all-consuming that it would make the very brick sweat as it ate the melanin out of their skin, and they became pale. But once that the Levitical priest saw that they were completely white, and the disease had stopped spreading, and they were no longer contagious, they would let them out to rejoin the other white people. But in the case of Miriam, the Most High turned her back black again, like the miracle he created in Hebrews with the prophet Moses. That was before Pharaoh, and he thrust his hand into his bosom, pulled it out, and it was as white as leprous, as white as snow. And everybody gasped in surprise and horror. Then he thrust his hand back into his bosom and pulled it back out, and it had become again as his normal flesh. These are things that can be checked out. Don't believe me, check it out. All right?
Yes. Thank you, Messiah. I'll let the brother have a question.
I love you. All right, son, what is your question?
Hey, so I had a question on with Inky. Isn't he Draconian?
He's half Draconian. He's not a full blood. You follow me?
Okay. Right. Is that the same thing?
His mother, yeah, of course Malachi is Draconian too. Okay. But yeah, Inky's mother was an Shum gal, an ugly river serpent, right? And Anu went out there and united with her in a sexual way as a consort, and the resulting birth was Enki. But he also had a full Anunnaki son that was Enlil. That created a problem in the family, so that when they came to Earth looking for gold, Enki was expected to be the leader of the project. But the council voted Enlil to be the heavenly one, or the leader. And as a result, Enki got upset and migrated to Ganawa, to Africa. And many of the Patahite, the African pygmy women, went to him freely and made it, while the Draconians in Sumeria were using rape and what have you to take the women and mix their genes in. You follow?
I follow.
Right.
Okay.
So both brothers are in the gene system in the gene pool on Earth in a very strong way.
So is that what they mean when they say the tribe of Israel?
Now, what you're talking about, there are 12 tribes of Israel, and they were the real tribes. They were all black and still are, naturally. But all the tribes have begun to bow their knee to the image of Baal, to the image of the devil. And as a result, their protection was lifted, and Nebuchadnezzar and them would swoop down from the north, engage them in war and kill them off, and bring many of them into captivity. But there was a remnant of 7,000 of the tribe of Judah that never bowed their knee to the image of Baal, and they migrated to ancient Abyssinia in Africa, Ethiopia, it's called nowadays, and formed a group called the Falasha. Look this up. The Falasha. And they took the Ark of the Covenant with them. And so the original Jews are still there in Ethiopia as the Falasha. And the white pretenders in Israel that are claiming to be the real Jews are spoken about in the Bible of Revelations by Jesus when he says, there are those of you that say they are Jews, but are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan. The Jews in Israel are the Ashkenazim, Sephardim Jews, Europeans. That's why it was confusing in World War II when Hitler was supposed to be killing off the Jews, that they couldn't tell the Jews from the Germans or any other white people. They had to put bands on their arms so you could distinguish them, because they would be in charge with a religious belief as the Jews, because when the blacks were taken into captivity into the north by Nebuchadnezzar and those kings, the white people were their pets. They used to, in essence, fetch papers and things like that. And when their masters were taken from them, they started putting on their clothes and learning how to read and supplanting them and taking over their religion. And till this day, they pretending to be the real Jews, and they're not. They are the devil, disguising themselves as the Jewry.
I follow.
Yeah. They know that the lost found tribes of Israel are you people that are here with me, the blacks and browns among you.
Rahubat.
Rahubat.
Andrew.
All right, how you doing?
Add something. Doing great. I'm just kind of looking up things as we go for those people that aren't on the Zoom. So Falasha is F-A-L-A-S-H-A. And
can you repeat that again?
I'm doing a search. F-A-L-A-S-H-A.
And what did you find out on that?
It says it's a considered quote unquote a derogatory term, but it means
like nigga. They call everybody that's melanated and original and real. They have a derogatory term for them, right?
Exactly. And
like
so
the Abrahams call black people the Zinj and this, that, and the other, right? Of course.
Mm-hmm. Exiles or landless ones in Amharic.
Yeah, Amharic Jews. Who they're talking about is the ones that originally migrated. But what you need to look up is the Jews in Ethiopia that have...
It says the Ethiopian highland population with Jewish beliefs, the Beta Israel.
Okay, now let me say this. They got that backwards. It's the Caucasians that have stolen the Jewish beliefs and texts and what have you, that are pretending. But you see how they reverse the psychology? They're trying to say the original Jews, and everybody knows the original of anything is black. That's the origin of anything original. Because you can't get black out of white. That's not the origin of anything. That's the furthest extent of the gene pool or color. That's the mutation. when you see lepers, albino animals in the wild, they're at the end of their genetic strain, just like people. They can't descend any further away from the original. They become the opposite of black. So let them talk. But did you go on YouTube and check out the Jews in Ethiopia that have the Ark of the Covenant in that little chapel that they've been maintaining it in? They have a little chapel that they formed in Ethiopia that they have the original Ark of the Covenant in, where that a brother is elected to go inside of that chapel, and they seal the doors, and he never comes out for the extent of his life, and they feed him through the windows and give him everything he needs to be the guardian over the Holy of Holies, the Ark of the Covenant. Now the fake Jews...
Aksum. The Ark of Aksum.
Yes, exactly.
Ancient holy city of Aksum and the Church of Mary of Zion.
That's the one. They still have the Ark of the Covenant. The original Jews still have the original Ark, yes.
Are they the lost tribe of Dan?
Well, Dan is one of the tribes that there's some remnant of, but that's the tribe of Judah, mostly. But they are Dan, they call them Daniacal. And they were spread into Sudan and what have you. In fact, myself, when I was here, incarnated as Ahmed the Mahdi in Sudan, many of the Daniacal and the Fuzzy Wuzzies fought with me against the British.
Isn't that inner earth beings?
Yeah, I follow what you're saying, but that's the extraterrestrial connection to the stars, because the original blacks have a direct connection to the stars.
Okay, I follow.
Haven't you ever wondered why everybody that's always talking about they're being abducted all the time by extraterrestrials is only white people?
Right.
The reason black people are not abducted is because they are the ones that are the abductors.
Oh, okay, I follow. Okay.
So, Messiah.
Just like you never seen a picture of the great white ape, it's because he's the photographer. Go ahead. The white man is hiding his true identity. That's right.
Okay.
Well, I mean, no, I don't mean that in a sarcastic or funny way. I'm just giving you facts.
Amun, I love you.
I love you as well. I really do.
I love you too, Amun.
I love you as well.
Amun, I have a question.
I'll do my best.
So basically, the black people are the extraterrestrial. Can you tell me about the green scales that we had on our skin that fell off? The green scales.
That's because many of our race have been subjected to racial miscegenation, and we do have the draconian genome in us that results in their traits. Like some black people with the flat head, and many of you that have dandruff, that's actually scales. You know what I mean? The draconian is very heavily mixed in the races on Earth. That's why a lot of people are not going to be able to make it back into the Intergalactic Confederation. The draconians are not a part of the Intergalactic Confederation. Of course, when you eat people and what have you, and you fall down to that low frequency, you're not qualified. You're not capable of being in a heavenly state or community. Are you following me? Regardless how sophisticated you get technologically, you're barbaric in your very nature. To be negative like that is an evil and negative, disgusting thing. They're sickening. Nobody wants to be around those type of creatures. Who among you want to go to sleep with Jeffrey Dahmer? You remember him? And they locked, listen to me, they locked the brother up with him in the same cell. And the black man kept telling him, I can't sleep, you got to get me out of here. And he wouldn't do it. They thought it was funny. Until one morning, they went to check the cells, and Jeffrey Dahmer was on his bunk dead with a broke-off mop panel in his chest. And the brother was snoring. And they woke him up. He said, I told y'all I couldn't sleep. How you going to go to sleep and this white man is locked up for eating black people?
Yeah, you can't sleep with that.
But you couldn't go to sleep until you killed that crack.
Right.
Because he's a low-down, yeah, he's a barbaric monster. You can't sleep, brother. You can't go to sleep with a cannibal in the bed next to you. You can't do it.
I have a question.
I'll do my best.
What planet are you from, Amun?
I'm from the Sirius star constellation and from Orion, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm from Sirius B, and Orion. Remember what Jesus always said: "In my Father's house there are many mansions." In Uranus or Orion, you follow? So I'm from many different planets in Orion and Sirius. Malachi told you all that he's from Sirius and I'm from Sirius, but that I'm also from Orion. But he's from Sirius. That's where you have a lot of your reptilians at. Do you understand? In Sirius.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Well, what about Risk?
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, yeah. Risk is another planet in another solar system in Ilium. But it's an interdimensional place. It's not like Sirius or Orion. But, yeah, we have our home in Risk as well. But the thing is that the Shum that's in the bloodline of Enki, they're Draconia from another star system, that their world was collapsing and dying, and they went to Risk to beg for refuge there, and they were allowed, because they're a compassionate race, to one of the continents there, Zarakina, a water continent, that they would be able to survive and flourish there. But due to their nature, Tarnush, the leader of the Draconians at that time, he was ambitious and wanted to raise up and take over the kingdom of the Riskians. And so he flew to a planet called Pluto at that time in your solar system and mined the ore there called plutonium and constructed a bomb and took it back to the planet Risk and released it in the atmosphere to create that hole in the ozone layer that allowed the tri-solar system rays to penetrate to the surface and make Risk unbearable, so that we had to go underground in Risk or either build Shumu crafts and migrate away from Risk until we could find enough of the substance called gold to powder it down into a light substance and refine it and to sprinkle it over the hole in the atmosphere till it layered, because the gold was so light it wouldn't sink to the planet and it would float and have reflective properties, and it acted like a Band-Aid to heal the planet, to reflect the sunlight back into space and away from the planet. And as the planet Risk cooled off, we're starting to go back home. That's why we're here for you all, to take you back home to Risk.
I have another question.
I'll do my best.
It's about etheric parents. Could you explain that?
Well, all of you are Etherians. All of you are Etherians. Because, sister, if I ask you right now, are you spiritual or soulful or physical or etheric, what would be your answer?
Etheric.
You would be all of those.
Yeah.
Because the part of you that we can see and touch is physical, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you have an inner being that has inner vision, inner hearing, and an inner heart. If you're on the phone with your child or relative or significant other and they say very ugly things to you, they can break your heart thousands of miles away with a phone, am I right?
Mm-hmm.
But is that your physical heart that pumps blood, or is that your emotional heart?
Emotional.
That's right. So when you're looking at things while you drive, you see them with your physical eyes, right?
Yes.
But when you sleep at night and it's dark and your eyes are closed, you still see things, don't you?
Mhm.
But while your eyes are closed, which eye are you using to see within?
My third eye?
That's right. That's the etheric aspect of you. Let's take it deeper. Have you ever had a dream that was so real that you were with a person that you know and you were excited for the things that you were doing, whether it was fishing or picnicking or whatever, and you woke up and told them excited, hey, I saw you last night in my dream and we were doing this and that. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Question. Who was it that was watching you and that person in your dream? Who saw y'all?
I don't know.
It was you, because you said, I saw us last night in my dream. Are you following me? So there's a higher intellect inside of you that's watching this happen from above. Are you following me?
So it's like, so basically, like with dreams, right? It's like I'm kind of watching like a movie of myself. Is that?
Well, let's reverse that. With physical reality, that's the dream. So that when the person, what you call dies, which is just that they ascend tab-dacted planes higher and higher. As soon as you die, you wake up out of the fog and you realize that becomes reality, and that your life here, that was the dream, okay?
Mm. That was deep.
It's real. It's no different than when you, like I say, in the kitchen, you're trying to decide what to eat between a pig foot, which is forbidden haram, and a salad, which is halal, or allowed. Your higher self tells you to get the salad. The lower carnal in you says, get the pig foot. And you go back and forth until the argument sometimes come out, and your child can hear you from another room and say, Mama, who you talking to in there? And you laugh and confess, you call me, I'm in here talking to myself. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So you understand that you're many shadowy stages of the same being. Are you following me? But you've fallen from high. You are actually, what you are is pure consciousness. That's what you are, is consciousness. That is spiraled down into soul and even further into spirit. But as dense as you could possibly be is the physical incarnation that you call people on earth. Solid, active, and time-bound. You can't fall any lower than that. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
That's as vibrationally low as you can get in your frequency.
So what about like the etheric parents?
You know when they say when you hit bottom, there's no place else to go except up?
Uh-huh.
Unfortunately for some people, when they hit bottom, they're going to be thrown a shovel. Go ahead.
So like, my question with the etheric parents, was that like, is that like literally, like when they say the etheric parents?
Yeah, but your etheric parents are actually your own higher self.
Oh.
That gave birth to the lower aspects of you. You see, the you that's in the dream that says, I saw us last night in my dream, is not only an observer, but the one that's projecting the illusion of you as a physical being on earth. You follow?
Uh-huh.
That part of you is so high, it constitutes what you describe as God. You follow?
Mm-hmm.
So your higher self is God. And all of you have spiritual guardians that watch over you all the time, but they too have lives so that they don't stay with you constantly. But if you need them, they can sense it and rush to you as fast as they can to try to help you as much as they can. That's allowed by law. But you have to know that the only one that's with you constantly is Fa'ut, Kalun. He can never separate from you because he is you and you are him. Are you following me? Or it. It's not a gender.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to make things clear in your mind.
Yeah, that was deep, Amun. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's real. The reality of you is that you're an eternal being. You were always here and you always will be here. Because creation elected to create you because you are necessary to what you call existence in all your forms. Creation would never create a being that it didn't need or it couldn't provide for. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So everybody that exists is supposed to exist and can't not exist because there is no such thing as non-existence. There's no such place to put them. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
So you always will exist. You can't calculate non-existence. That's not a place.
Hey, Amun.
Yes.
Will some of us be on like stay on Nibiru?
Yes. For a long time, until you ascend up over that vibration. What you're doing is you're ascending back to consciousness. Simply put, Fa'ut has created itself in many different forms. 46 trillion created beings, as far as angels, human beings, etc. And you've all been sent out on very unique and different journeys to accumulate experiences throughout what you call existence. And as you compile all these experiences, then like a yo-yo, you're to ascend back into Fa'ut with all that information, only to be sent out again to gather more. Are you following me?
I follow. We just keep evolving and evolving.
That's right. And there's no limit.
I follow.
For example, take a young lady in college that she's a scientist. And in her studies, she's found out and proven to herself that there's another tiny particle smaller than the God particle that exists. And she writes papers that convinces the powers to be to the point that they fund a program for her to continue her studies. And after 10 years of research, she's got the substantiated proof that she needs to prove that there's a smaller particle and takes it before them, and she gets various awards for discovering a particle smaller than the God particle, etc. But only she doesn't know what we know, that she didn't discover a smaller particle, but that her belief in the existence of it actually created the smaller particle. Do you follow me?
I follow.
Because as God, you don't have any limit in any direction to how small or big a thing, none of that. You understand?
Oh, yeah.
That's right. You're unlimited because what you are is Fa'ut, the all. And you're ascending back up into all, and you're going to become as individuals all again. So you are going to be the most magnificent. In other words, there's no description for how high you're going to be. And no limit to what you'll be able to do. Like Jesus said, man will do greater things than I. So you have beings that are spiraling up and some that are spiraling down. becoming lower and eviler and more dingy in their thoughts, like the young man said when he came in. The filthy among us, the disgusting, the degenerates, the devils. And they're not fit to be among civilized beings. You follow what I'm saying? Nobody can go to sleep with Jeffrey Dahmer next to him.
Oh, but this Amun, I got disconnected.
Okay, I'm glad you're back. Let me explain something to you all. Circumstances don't matter at all. Only states of mind matter. Because circumstances are created by your state of mind. A negative being will create negative circumstances for everybody. A positive being in a positive state of mind will create positive circumstances for everybody in all creation.
I think another term that we use for that is called your frame of mind or a mindset.
Yes, exactly.
Those are like the catchy terms these days, or being in a
yeah, that's right.
state.
That's right.
I want to share a spiritual experience.
Yes, sister. What is your question?
The brother can go on with his experience. I can go after him.
I love you. Okay, brother, your experience, please.
Just to speak on the spirit guide aspect, I've noticed that whenever I might feel myself kind of starting to vibrate a little bit low, and I go out in the world and meet somebody that lifts me up in some really unexpected way.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's pretty astounding when it happens.
Well, let me explain that on this low frequency, existence acts as a mirror that can only reflect back to you what you project into it. You follow me? It's like a big mirror. That if you smile at the mirror, you receive a smile back. But if you give it the finger or put draconian evil energy into it, that's the only thing that's going to come back to you in many different forms, right?
That's the ladybug.
Uh-huh.
Oh, there's a
Sister, please mute your phone talking in the background. All right.
That makes good sense.
Go ahead.
My question is pertaining to when the planet is splitting, Vesica Pisces.
Yes.
Are we in any way, do we help that, with grounding or no, that's not required? I don't know if I'm...
Well, it's going to do it whether you do it or not. It's happening, right? That's why it's unfortunate that people don't keep up with the calibrations are going to be left behind with the old earth and what they create. You follow? Unfortunately, the old earth is also passing away. You follow me?
What?
Yeah.
So you said we have, previously we had 1 foot in the old earth and 1 foot in the new earth. So to make the
now,
full...
you can't say that as a collective because we don't have anything. All of you are vibrating on different frequencies. Every one of you have your own unique frequency. That's how you distinguish one of you from the other. So when the brother got on the phone originally, he opened up talking about these disgusting beings that have this low frequency. That's one mindset, as the brother just said. But then there are those among you that are trying to ascend in your vibrations and walk with me up to higher and higher vistas. You follow me?
To what?
But some are gravitating toward the lower frequencies. Draconia and just filthy, disgusting beings. They're going deeper into the cesspool, you follow? And they figure out ways to to thwart the truth or block it or whatever, try to, hold back righteousness and goodness and truth, etc. You follow?
Sure.
They become so committed to darkness and evil. They dwell in the great sunken, and they can't even envisage a creator or light or anything divine anymore. They've been cut off by their own thoughts so long. You follow me?
Sure. So as we meditate and hold that higher vibration or frequency, and then
you can make this shift.
Okay, but as we encounter that lower vibration, as the brother just said, then we have to have that psychic self-defense.
That's the only
to make
way you can.
shift.
That's right. Protect yourself from Jeffrey Dahmer. That's right.
Okay. All right.
You have to have the mindset of a higher frequency.
Hello, Hat Messiah.
I love you.
I love you.
Hey, Amun.
Yes.
I need a meditation because I work on my chakra, every day, but I'm not feeling like I'm getting any type of result,
But let me tell you that you are getting a result. Are you following me? And being here with me is proof of it. Let me ask you a question. Before you met me, who were you walking with that had you moving stars?
Nobody.
So are you raising up or spiraling down?
I'm ascending.
That's right. Just like you can't help but go to hell around Jeffrey Dahmer, you're going to be heaven bound with me. You follow?
I follow.
That's right. Because that's where I'm going. Everybody that sticks to me go end up in heaven. That's the only place they could go.
Right.
That's right. Going my way.
Absolutely.
And I love you. In my father's house, there are many mansions. If it was not so, I wouldn't say it. I wouldn't tell you.
That's right. That's right.
Amun, I was wondering, could you share a spiritual experience that you haven't shared to us yet?
Sure. Let me see. Which one would be appropriate? Oh. Okay, I was walking with Partner Babianoon in the dark on what looked like a sidewalk, and we looked up. I looked up to the sky to the right of us. He was right next to me. He had a bald head, and of course he's smaller than I am. And I saw a craft that was violet in color, but it was etheric, like it kept changing shape, right? And I was excited about it, and I asked him, I said, "Can you see that?" And he looked up at me and said, "Yeah, I see it, oh, duh, yeah, brother, I see it." And then when I turned around to face the front of us, we were walking, there was a silver cabinet, like a tall rectangle computer on an angle. Like one point of it was almost touching the sidewalk, but about 2 or 3 inches above it. And it was floating toward us. It had a lot of multicolored lights flashing off and on like technology. And he just kept walking. I kept walking with him, but when it got almost to us, I didn't know whether to move out the way or run or whatever, but we just stood in front of it for a minute, and it was doing whatever it was doing, scanning us or whatever. And the next thing, the scene changed, and we were like on a large college campus where they had beautiful lawns like golf courses, and the sun was just beginning to come up. And I looked up in the sky, and 2 balls were falling out of the sky, one red toward him and one blue toward me. and they were about the size of those little paddle balls you used to play with the string on it when you were a child. You hit it and come back to you. Batting ball. And the little ball fell. I caught mine and he caught his. Then the scene changed again, and we were in like a room. And I was in front of a chair, and he was in front of like a love seat. And we both had heavy plastic gauge bags, looked like, in front of us on the couch, and then balls were inside of them. And in mine, the ball was flashing like lightning, like it looked like a little small world or something flashing inside of it, and I was confused. But I saw him pick his up and tear it open like a bag of potato chips, and I said, "Hey, man, you don't even know what that is." And he didn't even say nothing, but the scene changed again, and we were on the back of a craft. I know which craft it was. He was sitting on the back seat, like the back seat of a bus, and I was on one knee in front of him on the floor looking up at him. And he looked down at me and he said, very clearly, "Now that you can do anything, what are you going to do?" And I thought real hard to myself, and I answered and said, "I don't know." Then I woke up back here again, and I could move stars and all kind of things, heal people. You hear me, sister?
Yes.
Hello?
I'm sorry.
Oh.
I was meditating on what you were saying.
I love you. Well,
Love you too.
all of you are going to have some spiritual surgeries like that. I remember one time I was laying on my right side, and there were beings that were doing some type of surgery in the base of my spine. And I could watch them working on my body on the bed, just like I said, somebody in your dream is watching you and the person you with, or I'm in here talking to myself. So I was in the room watching them work on my base spine, and one of them came and had a disc. It's called a velar, a dye or disc, a velar. And it accumulates like a crystal, all kind of information. And they slipped it in between my disc and my lower back, and then it closed up again. And that velar is getting all of my information, recording everything in my thoughts and dreams, hopes and aspirations, all of my physiology, all the things that I wish for my perfect mate and how I would like to be myself in perfection. And then when you supposedly die, you are sent up to the ship, and there are masters, real masters, that working with like a studio, in the music studio with all kind of equipment, and they take your disc and they insert it, and they download everything about you, everything you wish for and hope for. And as you speed up more and more, and your physical body breaks down, and then you become what you would call nothing, like ice turning to water, eventually to steam, and then to nothing, but it's really something in transit, energy in transit. Then, if you are a heavenly being, you'll see like two poles, one on the left and one on the right, and then the light will string like a spider's web from the one on the right to the one on the left, and weave back to the one on the left to the one on the right, until it starts weaving a physical, weaving a form for you, whatever you want, spiritual, physical, whatever. And when it reshapes you into the perfect thing that they saw in your imagination, then you can reincarnate as that perfected being, and what would be paradise to you from your perspective. Do you follow me?
That's beautiful.
It is. And while they're editing that disc, they see all your bad experiences, all your nightmares, and all your tragedies.
This call will be recorded.
And they erase all of that. and replace it with pleasant memories and pleasant, you know what I mean, right?
Right.
You become a whole new being, but they say it real fast and call it a Nubian, right?
That's correct.
So when do they do that to you?
That happens when you make the separation. I don't like to use the word death because there's no such thing as just a rebirth. Because you are eternal beings, you follow me?
Yeah.
And it says in the scriptures that I will remove the fears of death from you all, in the tablets and all the scriptures. Well, how am I going to remove the fear of death from you all? The way that I do that is with the truth. Know the truth, and the truth will make you free. You follow me?
Yes, that
the
is
more
true.
you realize the truth, Star Movers, the more you realize that there is no such thing as death.
Mhm.
And that'll remove the fear of it from you, right?
Mhm.
Right.
That's a bestial condition, a low-down vibration. When people think about death and killing, like the first brother was saying when he came on, that's as low as you can go. Well, I don't know. There's no bottom to how low you can go either. It's a bottomless pit, but you know what I mean, right? It's down there. It's
Right.
down under the toilet, yeah.
So
I have a mindset like that. Go ahead.
So you already have your barbarian, what is it called?
Yes.
Barbarian gland? Oh.
Yeah, that's how I move the stars and make mine. Yeah, that's right. That's how I'm answering your questions right now.
Do you remember
So does
when that happened to
Malachi.
you?
Huh?
I said, do you mind sharing when that happened to you?
Yeah, it happened to me before 2013. Between 2002 and 2013. I don't calibrate time in the way that you do, so I don't know how to give you a specific year.
Right. Do some of us have our barotheric glands?
Some of you have your barotheric gland reinserted, but it's not reactivated. That's what I'm here to do, to reactivate it.
I mean, how can we locate it? Like, how can we locate it?
Right now, it used to be in the hippocampus area of your brain, about the size of a walnut, but when it was surgically removed by some draconians, that brain matter had overgrowth and there's nowhere to put it there now, no room. So we replaced it in the lower submental, under your chin, about the size of a walnut, and some of you can feel it there, but it's not necessarily activated. But those of you that are with me in moving stars and doing such things, it's beginning to activate, reactivate.
I copy.
Okay,
So let your imagination run away with you and feel the bottom of your tongue and think, I got it. You know, just calm down. You'll get yours in time. Just stay with me. It'll be there.
Oh, man.
I'm coming.
You know, that's what we're doing, right?
Excuse me, Amun, I have a question.
I'll do my best.
Okay, I've, been looking at some things on YouTube, and I wanted to know about the fake Jews and the Vatican preparing for the second coming of Jesus.
Well, they've had their second coming in the form of Donald Trump. They're looking for the return of the Antichrist. The fake Catholics are waiting for the fake Jews, right? Return. The lie is waiting for the lie. Okay? But the Creator said that He would make those liars, devils, bow down at your feet. So the world would know that He loved you. And I would like you, sister, to look up the Pope in the Vatican on his knees kissing African toes. Can you look at YouTube? Can you look that up right now, please?
I already am.
Okay, and then tell us what you see. The Pope on all fours kissing African feet in the Vatican, YouTube. You don't have to go to YouTube and then look up your query. You look up your query and then put YouTube and you'll be right there. Just beat the computer up and handle it. It's a tool. Next question while she's searching. Have you got it, sister? All of you should be doing it so you can see for yourself.
I have a question.
Yes.
Lately, I've been feeling like vibrations.
Okay.
And ringing in my ear. Right here.
Right.
What does that mean?
Well, that if it's not tinnitus or tendonitis, it's a sign that the Elohim are in contact with you, and they're close to you, and they're scanning you, and they're trying to keep you in tune with their frequency, like that, so that when it's time for a natural alert, they'll give you the words audibly, words instead of a tone. Like on TV when you hear that, beep, had this been an actual event, we would have given you instructions to do this, that, and the other. Same thing. They're keeping you in tune with their frequency, so when the time comes, they can give you words you can understand and tell you what to do. And also, they're scanning you, that if there are any imperfections like leaks in your blood vessels in your brain, they will surgically repair them with laser to keep you, that child, in tune. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Hey, Amun.
Yes.
I have an experience, but this is a while back. I hate to say it was with the use of a drug, but I had taken, oh my God, I had taken DMP, and I felt like something was doing surgery on my third eye.
Okay.
Like right in the middle of my head. I was trying to.
It was probably your higher self. In fact, I would like y'all to write this drug down: ayahuasca. Ayahuasca. Do some research on that. Those of you walking with me are going to have to stop being mentally lazy and start researching everything I tell you. Because with enough confirmation, you know that I'm giving you only facts and not beliefs. Do you understand? Because some of the things that I'll tell you is going to be so wild, it's going to be very hard to believe. But I want you to know, through repetitious truth, that all I'm giving you is facts. That bring me back to the sister looking up the Pope on all fours, kissing black African toes. Tell us what you see.
Okay. The Pope is down on his knees. Excuse me. The Pope is down on his knees, and there are quite a few melanated men. There's and there's a Caucasoid next to him helping him get down, and he is down there literally kissing their feet.
That's right.
Last one of them.
That's right. Now, as far as what you're talking about, the fake Jews, I want you to look this up now. Black Hebrew Israelites, white people kissing their feet, YouTube. So you're going to see that the real Jews and the fake Jews meet. and the fake white Jews are on all fours kissing those black people's feet. Yeah, like in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, all over the world. So he's holding true to his word. He's making these devils bow at your feet to know that he loved you. Okay?
Yeah, because I've seen that, because actually they were also apologizing.
That's right, for all the slavery and all the lies and all that, yeah. They were apologizing for the whole white race. And in one scene, when they started begging and for forgiveness, the sky erupted in thunder and lightning and rain. Yeah.
Yes, and as far as the ayahuasca plant, I know about that because some of the shamans use that to get in contact with the spirit world.
In religious ceremonies and sweat lodges, they give you ayahuasca like the old Indians will give you peyote or different things, and it raises up your vibrations and you shift into different realities so you can experience and overcome your fears. Like you might see a big giant snake or a big lion and you overcome it, and then when you come back to yourself, you cleanse the fear and all that. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to remove the fears of death from you all and all these different fears. Mm-hmm. And I will do it as long as you walk with me. But the devil is here to create fear and confusion and chaos. You understand?
Right.
Mm-hmm. They are the disgusting, the filth of existence. The crud, the toilet liner. Well, they, you know, boogers serve a purpose, I guess. They are the disease.
Yes, I've been saying that for years. They are the disease of this planet.
That's what they are, the disease, the filth of the earth.
And I had another question for you, Amun. What is your...
Who else? Wait, let me ask. Did the rest of you all follow instruction and look up black Hebrew Israelites having their toes kissed by white people? Commonly YouTube.
Yes,
everybody wants to go to heaven. Video. Say it again.
I said, yes, I've seen that video. I think we had this conversation.
We probably have, but the reason why we repeat things is because there's always different people in the class at different times, sister.
Mm-hmm.
That haven't been exposed to some of the things you have, you see?
Mm-hmm.
But they need to see for themselves, too. We're out of time now, but I really strongly suggest that you all look up black Hebrew Israelites getting their toes kissed by young white people, men and women, for real, on all fours. But let me say,
that's right.
Yeah, I know. But everybody don't know. You know what I mean, mother? I want everybody to know. I don't want them talking about Amun said. No. Amun directed you to proof. Like right now, a lot of people have heard in the world that we move stars. Well, I'm going to do that, perform that miracle for you right now again, because I want to keep refreshing and strengthening your third eye, your inner being, until you know for a certainty that it is me and this is really happening. So all of you go outside, and I want everybody to remember that it's incumbent upon all of you as disciples, men and women, to reach the 144,000. My job is to wake you up and reach you. Your job is to reach the 144,000, and their collective job will be to reach the rest of the world. It's a pyramid structure.
Right.
But you're not going to heaven until you earn your seat. And you're going to earn your seat by supporting this mission in every way, writing testimonies, sending donations, and especially raising up people. So all of you should be bringing new people to class, every class, in droves. and opening up new areas and avenues to find new people. Who will be the first one to go outside and move a star with me tonight?
I see one.
I see one.
All right. In London, you see it?
Yeah.
All right.
Cherry Wood.
Okay. I'm going to move it to the left in the name of the Messiah.
But it's
Tell me what
left.
you... All right.
Move it
there you
up.
go. Now, move up in the name of the Messiah.
Going up.
Bit wobbly, but yeah.
Yep.
All right. Now, drop down in the name of the Messiah.
Dropping down.
It's up and down.
All right. Next person. Brother, what do you see?
I see a star.
All right. I'll make that star go in a circle clockwise in the name of Amun-Rayay.
It's going whoa. It's going clockwise.
Clockwise.
I love you all. That'll be enough for tonight, unless there's a new person here that never did it before. We're going to need your financial support. Go ahead. Is there somebody here that never performed a miracle?
It's Maria.
I'm looking for somebody that never did it before. But for Marora's sake, I'm going to move the whole creation. All creation move to the left.
Moving to the left.
Moving left.
All creation raise up.
Going up.
Raising up.
All creation drop down in the name of the Messiah.
Already dropping down.
I love you all. I am the Messiah, Nitia Authority, Amun-Rayay Asa. Let the whole world know that we're back. TikTok, before times get beyond repair. Support, write your testimonies, and create your own posts, and give people the class information and get them here.